Hey Nick, do you think that station wagons are badass?
Roman, I think station wagons are almost as badass as you.
And coming up right now, guys, we're going to give you the top 10 reasons why station wagons, including this Buick Regal TourX, hell, they don't even use the word wagon in the title, is badass.
So number 10 on the list, exclusivity. Not that many people have these, which means that when you see a lineup of driveways, there's probably only going to be one wagon.
It is badass.
For those of you guys who aren't familiar with my man Nick Miles here, he's an automotive journalist and a lifelong Brit.
Yes.
Or are you a lifelong journalist?
No, well, I wrote my first article when I was 3 months old.
All right, Nick, let's talk about this vehicle, right? Buick says that they're always looking for white space, and what they mean by that is someplace where no other car is. And when you think about it, there are really only like 5 other cars that are station wagons that are sold in America.
Yep. And they found a white space in between those cars too.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Because kind of the entry level is the Volkswagen.
Yep.
Then you've got, well, you've got the all-road Audi on top of that, and this kind of slots in between those two. Number 9 on our list has to be all-wheel drive. Most sports wagons now come standard with all-wheel drive, and this vehicle can not only appropriate power from the front to the back, but also from the left to the right, which means that as long as one of these rear wheels has traction, you can get going. Can it go down a dirt road? Well, let's find out. Speaking of mild off-roading, so here is where I think the capability of this car kind of stops, right? It's got this kind of cool, unique all-wheel drive system where it can appropriate torque with the back wheels to the left or the right wheel, depending on what it needs it. And it's really good for snow. It's really good for rain, right? But there's no ground clearance.
Are we really going down this road?
Yeah, we're really going down this road. Yeah, because this is definitely an on-road and not an off-road. If you were in a Jeep right now, you wouldn't think twice about it, but I'm already worried. And that's going to be like a 6-inch rock, and I think we're going to hit it.
If you work for Buick right now, you should probably watch something else.
Yeah, you Buick guys probably don't watch. Here, let me see if we can hit this rock. Hold on. All right, so there's a little rock ahead of us. So let's go and see how far off-road we can get.
I'm waiting for a crunch.
We're just gonna go out there and check it out. So come on with us. Let's go look. Let's go look if we can even go over this rock. All right. So here's the rock. Now you drive.
You want me
Take
to
the key.
drive?
Yeah, I'll show you. Let's see if we can go over this rock. I think we've taken this Buick as far as we can, don't you?
I was already sweating it a little bit. I'll tell you, we might have to mop down the seat.
So one of the top 10 reasons why the station wagons are badass is not necessarily because they can go off-road. So that's maybe a reason why people like crossovers. They tend to have a little bit more ground clearance, and you tend to sit a little bit taller. So if you're going off-road, this is probably not the best vehicle, but that doesn't mean it's not badass. It just means it's not the right tool for this job. With a crossover, you could probably go off-road. It has a little more ground clearance, but that also means it has a lot more height. And the great thing about a wagon is, check it out. I can easily, look at that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The car is so low off the ground that there's no real issue in putting a lot of heavy things in the back.
So this is a quick cargo capacity demonstration here for the 2018 Regal TourX Drive. All of these blue duffels you see here will fit in the Audi Allroad, no problem, no big deal. If you add up all of the blue ones plus these red ones here behind you, that will all fit in our TourX. So it's a very good visual of how much more you can fit in our cargo, which is 73.5 cubic feet. And then finally, the lone green bag here is the only advantage that a three-row SUV like this Infiniti QX60 has over us, which each one represents about 3 cubic feet. So as you can see, TourX certainly offers the cargo capacity.
So number 8 on the list, Continental. This is the car that you could see poodles in the back of, baguettes. It's like me, Continental. Very, very exclusively European.
This particular one that we're driving is just under $40,000.
Yeah, so not only do you have the white space, which is wagons, but you have the white space between the very utilitarian and the luxury. So they found this white space.
Yeah, and they've done pretty well with that strategy. I mean, they've got a kind of a real 4-seater convertible. They've recently introduced a Regal Sportback, which I reviewed like a month ago, and that's of course a hatchback, dare I say it. And now they've got a sexy station wagon. Let's talk some physics, guys. At number 7 is the fact that it's lower. It has a lower center of gravity. The mass is much lower, and that just yields bonuses, not off-road, but on-road. It goes around turns better, it's a lot harder to roll, and it's a lot more fun to drive. I'm sure people aren't going to be taking this thing on the World Rally Championship, but if you wanted to, you probably could. Woohoo! Now we're having a bit of fun. Whoa, got a little bit of air there.
See, that corner, any other car would have slid out.
I think so too, yeah. Yeah, and let's face it, these aren't exactly meaty tires for off-roading. These are street buys.
All right, let's get to number 6. And on that list, a lot of people who buy crossovers think that they're going to do the Dakar Rally. But let's be truthful, they're absolutely not. This vehicle has everything you need and nothing you don't.
You know, I love station wagons. I don't get why they're not in favor, because to me, they're the bee's knees.
Yep. I think what happened is that there's a certain generation that used to remember the big old Malibus, the Woodies, and they had disdain for them because they would always be in the third row, get punched by their sister, and it was a very, uncool thing to have.
We interrupt this countdown from a word from our sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. I want to show you the engine. It's a 2-liter turbo. What else would it be? Puts out 250 horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque, and it is mated to an 8-speed automatic with no paddle shifters. It's a very torquey engine. You can really feel it when you give it the gas. So Nick, you are sitting behind where I drive. How much room do you have?
Look, about enough, about a Chicago hot dog.
Yeah, of course, but how tall are you, dude?
Do I have to tell you?
No, let me sit behind myself. That's the real test. All right, that's me. Plenty of headroom. It's okay.
You are a gargantuan man, though.
Look at you, though. Look at all the room you have.
Look, that's like 2 Chicago hot dogs.
There is plenty of room in the front, and there's adequate room in the back here.
It would be great for kids, but I'm not sure it's great for adults on a road trip.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go like across the country, you'd want to be in the front seat.
Absolutely.
And I think you're right. I think station wagons to a lot of younger people represented like suburbia, 9 to 5, all the stuff that they have nothing to do with and want nothing to do with.
Right.
And so it's been hard to sell a station wagon to a group of people who kind of compare it to something that their parents drove. Right, there's that old cliche, it's not my dad's Buick. And this is by no means your dad's Buick, because this is actually an Opel.
Yes. Out of the age of polyester into the age of Opel.
Yes, it's a rebranded Opel Insignia. And I think that's actually really cool because it makes it European. And think about all the wagons that are in America. They're all European, right? The BMW, the Volkswagen, the Audi. I mean, these are all Volvo, right? These are all European vehicles.
Number 4 on the list, every wagon makes you look sporty. No, you don't have to have tennis gears or surfboards on the top or even mountain bikes. Just being inside the car makes you look like an athletic hero.
Now this video is called like top 10 reasons why wagons are badass, and one of the reasons we said is because they have a lower center of gravity, right? You don't have all this mass up top
compared to an SUV is
right.
What you're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that do in terms of like handling to the car?
Well, it's just like anything else in the world where the lower you are to the ground, the less you've got then to roll around, right? So if you're a very heavy person even up top,
hey,
then you have more chance of
falling,
tipping.
Okay,
I won't say falling,
all right,
I'll say tipping.
All right.
Same thing for a car, right? If that mass is down lower, you're more able to be stable and be flat through corners and through handling.
So it makes it a little bit more engaging.
And it has more car-like attributes when you're just driving the car in normal conditions than an SUV was. Not saying that an SUV is bad, it's just different.
Yeah, and I always like to ask this question because it's kind of a softball question. What's your favorite part of this Regal TourX?
And to me, the really cool part of this whole thing is that you've got the capability of the SUV you like, but you've got the driving dynamics of the car. So I really applaud Buick for being able to put together something like that where you can have that target audience who wants the car-like ride, but gets the usability of the back end.
Can you tell the number 3 reason why station wagons are badass? That's right, it's enormous back here. That is bigger than most crossovers, which effectively means that even a guy like myself, who's 6'2", can sleep in the back of this Regal TourX. Yeah, it's still a station wagon. Good night. You know, there's something about vehicles. If a vehicle is like stands, you know, right, with the wheels kind of like this, super low, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And if it's like lifted 6 inches, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just, if it's in the middle, it's kind of boring and mundane.
Right.
Yeah, and so, you know, we're on a dirt road, of course. This isn't going to be a great off-roader, but because it's slow and because it's sexy, it's something that I think is desirable. All right, here's an easy question. Which one is easier to load a bike onto? Is it the station wagon? Yeah, it's about shoulder height for me. Or is it the crossover? It's about head height for me. I've always found it really difficult to get mountain bikes on top of crossovers, but on wagons,
Number 2 on the list, you don't need a beard to drive one. Let's face it, hipsters are absolutely everywhere. So you don't need a beard, but it helps.
all right, Nick, the number 1 reason why wagons are badass, especially with that sleek design and low roofline, is because they are sexy as... No, sexy as AF.
AF, sorry
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, AF, yeah. But they are, it's true. Look at it. So Nick, bottom line, do you like this Buick Regal TourX?
I do, Roman, and I think you might see one in my driveway in the future.
You know, I'm a sucker for station wagons. I'm glad they're making a comeback. But how much does it cost?
It starts at just under $30,000 and tops out around $42,000.
Yeah, and they're available at your Buick dealership as we speak.
Might have to buy one.
Dude, how much did Buick pay you to say that? As always, this is Roman
And I'm Nick
saying thanks for watching. And Nick, where can people find you?
at ourautoexpert.com.
And don't forget to check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and real world badass, sexy as...
Reviews.
That's right. Ciao.